Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Immortality Season 5 Episode 14 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. A pure and powerful spirit, rushing from the depths of Fang Hanmai with his fingers flowing, turned into a piece of Yuan Ying Dan. And the quality of this Yuan Ying Dan is higher than that of Taiyiman. The little baby inside seems to have breathing and heartbeat, which is the result of mana flow with spirituality. I saw a piece of Yuan Ying Dan refining success, and Indigo and others all looked at it. This is impossible. It is absolutely impossible. It is difficult for a woman to be a woman without a meter. Fang Qingxue shook his head. You must know that no matter which kind of medicinal medicine is used, every time you refine one, you need a lot of medicinal herbs, and you need to purify it. In particular, the Yuan Ying Dan is a human-level remedy for medicinal herbs. There is no medicinal material, and the supernatural powers are not refining, and it is difficult for a woman to be a rice. However, Fang Han can be refined without the need for herbs. Made, no rice. Of course, this is the aura of the fairy world drawn by the tree of the world. Condensed into Dan. The aura of the fairy world, only the master of the longevity secret can be captured. This kind of spirit is pure, awesome, is the source of eternal. It is best to use it, but it does not need to be purified. Because the process of purification is to practice the medicinal materials and then combine them. And the celestial spirit is itself chi. Others use herbs everywhere, thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds of refining, then furnace refining. And Fang Han only needs to wave between the hands, extract the celestial spirit in the world tree, you can condense the remedy. What is the difference? In the Taiyuan Shenfu, the tree of the world can only draw a little aura, and can only barely maintain its cultivation, there is no surplus to alchemy. But outside, the celestial world is rolling down. Those surpluses of the celestial spirit can refine a large number of Yuan Ying Dan. Fang Han was killing the dynasty, Xie, and after burning the 3 disciples, they captured the Tian's ***, and their 100 treasure pouch contained the method of Yuan Ying Dan refining. Taiyuan's Yuan Ying Dan, Guban Pei Yuan, after taking it, the body's blood will form a group, hold the egg, and quickly change. It is the best food for the practitioners. However, refining is also very troublesome, far from being able to reach the entire sect. If Taiyiman can let all the disciples take Yuan Ying Dan, I am afraid that the world of Xianhuang will be unified. The disciple of Taiyiman, the door of the outer door, millions of people, is 10 times more bloated than the door of the feather, 1 person a day, that is, a few million, even if the real immortal cannot refine. Moreover, no immortal is willing to give them hard work. The strength of a martial art is not how wonderful the Taoist martial art is, nor how good it is to see the head, but to see that the resources are rich and not rich. This is the same as the secular, the dynasty is the same as the Ma Daojuan. An empire, the dynasty's army is not strong, mainly to see the money. The money is sufficient, the soldiers have meat to eat, the body is strong, and there is enough nutrient training every day. It is difficult to think that it is not strong. Similarly, a disciple of the immortal school, each of whom has a great spirit to provide rich cultivation, will definitely advance by leaps and bounds. This is a universal truth. Although it is also a comprehension, but rice is not enough, there is not enough energy, and then comprehension is also a fake. The world is a material world, and the spirit depends on matter. In fact, the mysterious person in the Taiyuan Shenfu has long seen that Fang Qiong, the most powerful, is not the 5 prisons, but not the magic knife, but not the Huangquan map, but the world tree. Qing Shuishijie, Hua Qiandu has the ethics of Panwu Vientian, so he is in the center. What do you rely on for the respect of many disciples? The half is strong, and the other half is a lot of Dan. Medicine, it's a crowd of people. Now I can refine a lot of Yuan Ying Dan at any time. I rely on this to get people to trust a lot of disciples. Now we can't compete against He Jian, but the 2 join hands, who I have to be jealous of 3 points. Fang Han looked at Fang Qingshue's surprised eyes, and his heart was somewhat proud. He knew that Fang Qingxue was looking for his own troubles. Now he has to take this move to resolve, and Fang Qingxue is firmly tied to his chariot and fight against Hua Tiandu. Indeed, if the two join hands, let alone increase the strength in the feathering gate, even if it is outside, it is enough to slash one side. You can really refine Yuan Ying Dan? There should be a limit. Otherwise it is too bad. It is not impossible for me to become the first fairy. Indigo thought for a while. Deep in the bottom, feel things it is unlikely that Fang Han is definitely a trick. Ads by Pub Future. Pub Future adds. If you can really produce Yuan Ying Dan, then hundreds of thousands of disciples have to take each day, and within 10 years, you will definitely be born with thousands of magical mysteries. This? Fang Han secretly admired the indigo in the end, and calculated it. He found that the tree of the world is a big scent of the world every day, but it is not eternal, but it is not endless. Refining more than 300 yuan Dan. You can make 336 yuan of baby Dan every day. Ah. Fang Hanyang came out, Indigo, Fang Qingxue, several Jurchen disciples, once again shocked. Indigo looked around, let's go to Dan Fang and say, Fang Han, this thing. You must not spread it out. Otherwise, you will only be afraid of the magic road. People in Xiandao will hit your mind. What are you getting? Magic weapon? Can you do it without rice? Several people came to Danfang and sat around the 5 prisons. 5 prison King Ding is placed on the ground and has not really been urging. Fang Hani sat down and his hands were repeated. A series of supernatural powers flew out and hit Wang Ding. This Wang Ding immediately shocked and the entire Reincarnation Peak was stunned. Then, under Wang Ding, a rock suddenly collapsed and formed a big hole. Among the big holes, the extremely blazing flames were sprayed out, all of them were injected into Wang Dingshou. With the help of this flame power, some of Wang Ding's large arrays slowly worked. Subsequently, the entire Reincarnation Peak, brilliance, the stream of light rises, the air flows regularly, an invisible majesty, straight into the sky. In the peaks of the true disciples, it is also considered to be outstanding. Fang Han is a communication of the ground, which has caused the fire to rise. The elders of Qiangong dispatched the devil to help Fang Han build this Reincarnation Peak. It is not free to build, but has a channel to communicate with the fire. Ground fire is a pure element that can spur a lot of things, especially exercise. Pub Future adds. Fang Han, the communication fire, God faintly follows this passage. You can see the depths of the ground, rushing with endless magma, huge flames. Numerous mountain peaks and veins communicate with the underground magma and extract the flame power inside. At the critical juncture, the true disciple of Yu Huamen, sitting on the top of the mountain, can use the Dan furnace to extract the flame of the ground and condense into a fire dragon to confront the enemy. Indigo uses the law, a little lead, the ground is sprayed out. The fierce flame flew out of Dingzhong, forming a fire that was 10 feet long. It flew 3 times around the Reincarnation Peak and flew into Dingzhou. A true disciple, the longer you sit on the mountain peak, the deeper the communication with the ground fire, the stronger the fire dragon will be. This is to rely on the land, not the infuriating. Because there is a fire network under the mountain. A true woman, the disciple explained. Fang Han looked at this true female disciple, his eyes were green, and the fire was faint. The cultivation was actually the same as the Jinshitai, and the fire was supernatural. However, the realm is much higher than that of Jinshitai. It has long been a Taoist Sai, and it is a master of the mysterious mystery, the master of the Yuan dynasty. Between the words, there are also some majesty that can't be concealed. Obviously, it is also a very different role. The other 2 true female disciples, a full-body mana, such as the earth is generally sturdy, like a mountain squat. Fang Han knows that this female disciple is practicing mountain refining scorpion. The mana actually went to the yin and yang. Same as that of the dictionary. The last true female disciple, sharp breath, eyes often flashed through the sword. The cultivation is a big self-supplement, not under the stone dragon. These 3 true posted female disciples are all unacceptable characters. It is no wonder that they will be together with the indigo, and will help the Fang Han with the help of the feathers. These 3 are Yi Huan's sister, Luo Shui Shamai, Shokwangmei's sister. They are the leaders of my feathered disciples. This time, the teacher will let us save you, and let Long Hao and the three sisters and me form a 5-line cycle, turn into a mixed element. Auxiliary Fang Qingxue Shamai, urging the indefinite electric sign. Indigo explained. This is the case. Fang Han nodded. Well, since the teachers and sisters saved me, it was also a confidant. Between the words, countless wood, once again condensed into a book, and recorded 29 kinds supernatural. This book, I recorded 29 kinds of magical powers, everyone remembered in my heart. When everyone watched the book, Fang Han put the palm of the demon into the 5 prisons. There is still a part of the demon god's palm, and it takes a long time to refine it to be made into a medicinal herb or a treasure. More than 10 years and 8 years, as long as 3 years and 5 years. One day, you can produce 336 granules in vain. This is amazing. The younger brother, what do you do now? Is it really free to send to the disciples? Indigo returned the words to the topic. It is definitely a priority to supply disciples who are loyal to us. For example, the Indigo Club. Fang Han Dao, I don't care, I have a magic weapon, I can continue to draw the aura of the fairy world, condense the drug. But this thing, only with the confession of the presence knows that the rest will not be revealed. That's good, since Fang Han, you have such means, the previous things, I will not be guilty. Yuan Yingdan, and so on, I also need it. Fang Qingxue calculated for a while, Fang Han such opportunities, 2 against the sky. Good. I will refine the medicinal herbs first. Indigo, Qingxue's sister, you refine the palm of the demon god. Wait 10 days and a half, I have accumulated a lot of Yuan Yingdan. We can buy a cage among the disciples. People are up. Bang! With a large number of celestial elements rolling down, a piece of Yuan Yingdan refining success, 10 days later, began to spread the rewards, suddenly in the entire feathering disciple, set off a great wave. 2 flying swords are stabbing in the air, and they are like a dragon snake. It is a man and a woman who are assassinated in practicing flying swords. Between the entanglement of the 2 swords, the eyes of the virtual moon slammed, and an invisible spiritual wave passed away. The man who suddenly confronted himself trembled, seemingly unable to resist. The illusion was over, and all kinds of emotions were mobilized. The spirit could not manipulate the flying sword, and when it fell to the ground. It's amazing. You are so powerful, how are you so powerful? The spirit is skyrocketing. It can make me illusory. What do you practice in the past 10 days? Last time we were still comparable. This male disciple managed to recover. He stood up and slowly gasped. The spirit was undecided. The mental impact of the virtual moon was almost made him an idiot. Nothing, I just took Tailings Lingdan every day, Yuan Yingdan. I can't think of Yuan Yingdan so wonderfully. After taking it for 10 days in a row, it made me suffocate and broke through. It's no wonder that Tai is the best in the world. The door of a fairy road. This Yuan Yingdan laid the foundation in one fell swoop. The virtual moon smiled slightly, and there was a crystal remedy in his hand. A small baby shadow in the middle of the drug was vivid, showing the magic of creation. Ah! Yuan Yingdan. It's really Yuan Yingdan. The sister can actually take Yuan Yingdan. It seems that this is the first place in the Shanhe list competition. I don't know where the teacher's Yuan Yingdan came from. Several inner disciples around them are envious. This is not a strange thing. This Yuan Yingdan is not 2-1, but the reincarnation of the peak of the cold brother. Fang Han brother actually has no magic, can refine Yuan Yingdan. He once rewarded us. Indigo will have 8 sisters, each of whom will receive 200 tablets. There are 4 or 5 months, the Shanhe list competition will begin. I heard that this Mountain River list competition, the sects are more rewarding, you have to work hard. Yes, Fang Han's brother, recently recruited alchemy on the peak of the reincarnation, watched the fire, planted medicine, and raised the disciples of the spirit beast. You can go to the Red Yishamai to see if you can find this difference. At that time, Fang Han's brother will reward Xie Yuan Ying Dan came. The faint night of the night, a few words evoked the rise of many disciples. The virtual moon, the night rain, is the disciple of the Indigo Society that Fang Han met on the battlefield of the demon. Fang Han refining a large number of Yuan Ying Dan, the first hand rewarded them, let them spread everywhere and stir the hearts of the people. Fang Han, isn't that a person who challenges Hua Qianju's brother? Is it so powerful? No wonder he dares to challenge Hua Qianju's brother, but where is his medicinal material refining Yuan Ying Dan? Let's take a look. If you can get the reward of Yuan Ying Dan, martial arts can go further, or else you will continue to do so, and you will not be able to cultivate the mysterious secrets for a lifetime. Within a few days, Fang Han was able to refine a large number of Yuan Ying Dan news, and spread it throughout the martial art. Among the hundreds of thousands of disciples outside the door, the rumors spread. A large number of disciples rushed to the peak of the reincarnation, to see the Red Yi County Lord, and then become the reincarnation of the peak. Holney County selected several reliable inner disciples, and rewarded 10 granules of infant Dan, and then stipulated that they could receive 1 granule baby Dan every day. Seeing that things are true, suddenly, the entire disciple of Yu Huamen fry the pot again. Yuan Ying Dan and other great medicinal herbs have been condensed by Fang Han Yuan. This is equivalent to opening a warehouse for food during the famine. The disciples inside and outside the door of Yu Huamen were completely chaotic. They used to be gods in Huaqian, but now they have been reversed by Fang Han. Every day, Fang Han will be able to refine 336 yuan of infant Dan. The strength can be said to be stronger every day. Not only did the hundreds of thousands of disciples outside the inner door blow up the pot, but they all sharpened their heads and tried to drill on the Reincarnation Peak. Even if they were true disciples, they begin to move around. True disciples also need to take medicinal herbs to be able to cultivate. Only the longevity of the secret can be used to eat. God does not die. On the southeast side of the mountain of Yu Huamen, a black, like the peak of the black iron casting, is in the sky. This is a very powerful mountain of true disciple, called Xian Taifeng. Ads by Pup Future. Pup Future ads. On Xian Taifeng, the disciple is called Xian Tai Real Man, and he is a master who has cultivated to the sixfold return to the realm of Shentong. He has made all kinds of magical powers and practiced into a record, and the law is one, the mana is tyrannical, and the door is feathered. The top roll in the middle. Although it is not as good as Zhongtiandu, Donglingyu, Nanwanluo, Zilanlan, and Beiyaoguang, but it is also a he side, to go outside to be respected. Among the Xian Taifeng, Danfang, several true disciples were at the party. The natural head is Xian Tai Real Person, a middle-aged man in black overalls. Don't look at him in black, but it is an extremely powerful treasure, baby, called Black Iron Shirt. Water, fire, and lightning cannot erode. He is also a lot of supernatural powers, has repaired the 5 elements, almost equivalent to the 7 leaves of the devil. The other disciples, wearing all kinds of clothes, mana tumbling, the quality of those clothes, actually treasures. And it is not the kind of treasure of the lower quality, it is the treasure of the middle and upper grades, and its power is enormous. The temperament of their bodies and Fusha real people, Luming real people are generally no different, actually they are trained to the natural world master. This group of people can be described as the upper stream in the true disciple of Yu Huamen. If you say a martial art, the realm of Jin Dan or above is top. Then the 5-day heaven and the humanity, the 6-fold return to the world, is the upper stream. At this point, the Xian Tai Real Person held a Yuan Ying Dan in his hand, left to look, right look, then shook his head. This Yuan Ying Dan, really Fang Han himself refining, 2-1 Yuan Infant Dan, I have seen it, the quality is not so high. The medicinal medicine I am taking now is only building Jiden, but also painstakingly collecting medicine to capture the refining of the demon, wasting how much time I practiced. Heaven and humanity and the return of the world master, only 800 years of life, I have now passed more than 400 years. If you do not change, after decades, the spirits are exhausted, there is no hope, only to die. Yeah. A real disciple next to him also nodded, our feathering gates have always been, and some masters of heaven and earth have died. The spirits of God began to dry up and began to decline, and no one can save them. The Master of Heaven and humanity has a lifespan of 800 years, but if it is more than 500 years old, it will become an old man, and the spirits will be exhausted. At that time, even if there is an increase in the life of the drug, it will not be able to break through the realm. Only by practicing in Jindan can we increase our lifespan to more than 1,000 years. If Fang Han can provide us with a large amount of Yuan Ying Dan every day, and save the practice time of our refining medicine, it is not impossible for us to cooperate with him and help him to fight against Hua Qianju. Pub Future adds. A spiritual practitioner of the magical powers, many times, is used to find medicines and refine the medicine. It is impossible for the martial art to raise you. The elders in the sect also have to practice, and they need medicinal herbs. Always keep a parasite, it is not a system. In this case, let's go to Fang Han now. Now we are among the true disciples. In addition to the 5 masters in the southeast and northwest, there are also a few disciples in the same place who want to cultivate Jindan. If this time, you can get the party, the help of the cold, let him supply Yuan Ying Dan, save the effort of refining medicine. The grasp of the cultivation of Jindan is much bigger. The Xian Tai brothers must first start to be strong. And that Fang Han Jiao is good. And that Fang Han with Huang Quan Tu, you can get a drop of 2 drops to get rid of the impurities in the suffocating gas. It is good for condensing Jindan. Go, let's go find Fang Han. The other 2 real-life disciples of the real-life class are in the palm of their hands. The original masters collected between the heavens and the earth, all kinds of vitality, concise Taoist suffocating. When gathering together, it is also inevitable to contact the heavens and the earth, all kinds of complicated ideas, silk feelings, the so-called red dust and distracting. These distractions are not pure in their own mana, and they are a huge obstacle to cultivation. Especially the condensed golden Dan, it is even more difficult. Between heaven and earth, there is something to concentrate on repelling impurities and purifying the suffocating things. Forgetting the water is the best medicine. If the supernatural master of the sixfold return to the realm, get a drop of love, good sacrifice, used to wash distracting thoughts, forget the red dust emotions of 7788, then the grasp of practicing Jindan is much greater. Even if you are a master of Jindan, you can forget the water, you can also purify Jindan more purely. When the 8th, wind and fire comes, you can safely pass. If the sky is old, it will be old. Legend has it that the water of love is the holy water that helps the heavens to forget. Whether it is Yuan Ying Dan or forgetting the water, it is a practitioner, a refiner who dreams of something. Wait a minute. Xian Tai real people saw several younger brothers going to Reincarnation Peaks to find Fang Han, and quickly stopped. Fang Han is a fellow brother with us, but there is no feeling. We are so eager to go ask him a lot of Yuan Ying Dan, and forget the water, will people give? He is also a master of the heavenly circumstances. We are on an equal footing with him. They are all high-ranking disciples. He took out a little bit of infant Dan, and forgot to accept us, even if it is human. A nose is tall and very young. He is a true disciple wearing dark gold clothes. His tone is a bit arrogant. It seems that the qualifications are also extremely high, and it should be the genius of the speed of the monastic training. Indeed, this person is a rare genius, called Wu Li. Wu Shidi is not correct. Immediately, a true disciple shook his head. Everyone is not afraid of Hua Qian, and we can't suppress him. I can let him take out a lot of Yuan Ying Dan and forget the water. Xian Tai lived quietly, he got the Huangquan map, and he must have cultivated the magical power of the world, the 5 emperors. Magical power, after the rumor is completed, the power is enormous. It is the same as the 1 door, the 12th, the 3rd, the disaster, and the hardest. It is also the most difficult to practice. It requires a lot of 5 elements. It doesn't take hundreds of years to stay up all night. It's impossible to make a big success. With his gambling contract with Hua Qianju, where can I wait for so long? Therefore, as long as we can provide him with 5 elements, he will inevitably bring Yuan Ying Dan and forget the water. Oh! 5 elements of good spirits are good things. Everyone should collect them. Where do we come from? Besides, if this person cultivates the 5 emperors, the White Emperor, and the White Emperor, give him 100 Jinshan silver. Shan, he absorbed all, and may not be able to practice. The several Shenjin veins of our feathering door let him absorb the light, and some of them are mysterious. The morality of the 10 people who cultivated the big self-supplementary swords may not be enough. He uses it for one person. Wu Li smiled coldly. You forgot? 5 elements Ling. Xiantai real people licked their lips. 5 elements of Ling Zhen. You are saying that Meng Xiaobai got the 5 elements of the roots? Wu Li is a whole body. Yes, it is the spiritual roots of the 5 elements. Otherwise, Meng Xiaobai's younger brother will not be in the district at the age of 12, and he will reach the peak of Shentong and return to the peak of the world. He is called the Little God. He went to the wilderness last year. Said that it is not a golden dragon, never returned to the door. I guess it will come back soon. Once I come back, I will definitely add a Jindan master. I once used a piece of black iron crystal to please him, got the news of the 5 elements of Ling Zhen. Xiantai is human. Where there are 5 elements of Ling Zhen? Wu Li hurriedly asked. The Wild Temple. Xiantai real people lowered their voices and spit out 4 words in their mouths. The Wild Temple. This sinister place. All the disciples took a sigh of relief. Xiantai real person ha smiled. It doesn't matter if it is dangerous. We sell this news to Fang Han. I don't want him to be hooked. He wants to catch up with Hua Qianju in 10 years. He must have 5 elements. There are a lot of wild temples. Treasures, I have long wanted to explore, but it is dangerous, but this time we can also use the power of Fang Han to let him take the lead. We are not cheap. Meow. It's wonderful. I have to get the magical method of Fang Han and let him go to the front. We will take advantage of it. It is a stone and 2 birds. A disciple admired. Of course, he is still tender. After all, there are 10 years of gambling pressure. This is a good opportunity for us to get cheap. Xiantai real people touched the beard and stood up, the younger brothers. Let me go back to the peak with me. On the return peak, after half a month of cultivation, refining the medicinal herbs, Fang Han also knew that he could refine the news of Yuan Ying Dan and set off a frenzy throughout the martial art. However, he did not move, quietly waiting for the change, while refining the palm of the demon ***** with indigo, dragons, Fangqing Xue, and others, while practicing the 5 emperors. The most important thing for him now is not to refine Yuan Ying Dan, but to practice the 5 emperors and great devils. If the 5 elements are complete, they will be able to step into the same situation. However, the 5 emperors are all supernatural powers, and it is very difficult to practice. Now that he has practiced Daocheng, there is only one kind, that is, Qingdi Muhuangong. It was only with the help of the Tree of the World. Even if it is the Red Emperor's Royal Emperor, although the Suzaku banner, the treasure of the Fire Cloud Fairy, has been absorbed, there are still some fires. Not to mention the rest of the Juda, Shuihuang, Golden Emperor. Every kind of magical power must consolidate 1 or 2 nails. In this way, it is very difficult to step into the same situation, and it can only be bitter. When the things of Yuan Ying Dan are stirred up in the martial art, I have to go out and travel, look for the 5 elements of the magic weapon to absorb the 5 magical powers. To quickly practice the 5-line cycle, you must have 5 elements of gas condensation. Chengqiandi treasure. Black King Snake. After thinking about Fang Han, using the mana, Huang Quan's figure flew out 2 long teeth, the fangs of the Black King Snake. Very precious. The flesh and blood of the whole Black King Snake has been trained as a blood dan, and he has been eaten in the 18 years of being trapped. Now a Black King Snake, there is a skin and 2 fangs. Fang Han now flicked his fingers, and a sigh of anger came out of his body and condensed into several arrays. He was engraved on the 2 fangs and sprayed out again, suddenly spurting 2 flames in his mouth. A flame formed a Suzaku flamingo, and another flame formed a phoenix. A Suzaku, a phoenix, fluttered toward the two fangs, and immediately two fangs gasified. The power of a powerful flame is not much higher than the fire. Suzaku dance, phoenix sounds. When I saw it, I knew that it was two extremely powerful fire powers. It was the magical power of the fire cloud fairy Jindan. After being stolen by Fang Han, it was the same as the power of Jindan Master. The five heavens can refine the spirits and find good materials before they can refine the treasures. Fang Han is a refining two flying swords. At the same time, Fang Han grabbed his hand and the sound-killing magic knife on the main body of Hongyi County flew up and exploded. It also blended into the two groups. In a short while, the two fangs changed again into two flying swords, dark and faint, with a flame pattern on top and a bird-shaped text flashing. Hio's fairy, Hongyi, this is already a two-piece treasure, a flying sword. Power is great, it is higher than the sound-killing magic knife, and it can be transformed into a armor to protect the body. In the sound of Fang Han, these two the flying sword fell into the hands of the crane fairy and the owner of Hongyi County. The two swords, starting with a name, is called the Dragon Spider. The Black Water King Snake, especially the Smashed King Snake, is a baby. After being used by Fang Han to use the Suzaku dance and Phoenix Ming, two kinds of magical refining, it has become a treasure, and its lethality completely surpasses the sound. Killing the magic knife can even compare Yi Nanshan's 8-day ***** sword. The inner disciple can have such a treasure, and it is also very ugly, quite rich. Fang Han is not. Xian Tai Feng, Xian Tai real person and a brother-in-law brother, come to visit. I wonder if you can bother. A vigorous voice, conveyed in. Pub Future adds. Xian Tai real person. Fang Hani frowned. Xian Tai real person is a supernatural power, master of the world, qualification is older than me. But luck is a little worse, repair is not as good as me, has not yet practiced Jindan, but also one of the candidates for Jindan, I must be Yuan Ying Dan hooked up. Yang Lan smiled and said, you throw Yuan by Dan this bait, do not know how many disciples, even the elders of the sect will be hooked. I am going to see you. Fang Han stood up. Outside the recurrent peak, at this time, it is already faint brilliance. Above the auspicious clouds of a group, there are 5 extraordinary people standing on the body, and the body is full of powerful people. Fang Han saw at a glance that the 5 Taoists, one of them wearing black iron clothes, had the highest Tao. Even more powerful than the 7 leaves of the devil are 2 or 3 points. The rest of the 4 Taoists also breathe between the two, faintly see the formation of the formation of the formation, turned out to be the master of heaven and earth. The black one is the black iron, the dark gold dress, called Wu Li, the root bone is very good. It is also the most unruly. The sound of indigo conveyed into the mind of Fang Han in the middle introduced the power of these 5 true disciples, come. What magical powers to cultivate, so that Fang Han knows them well. You and I are both the same door, you are welcome, please come down and go to my Danfang story. Fang Han arched his hand. Xian Tai and others looked at each other and slowly landed. In front of the great hall square, along with the lead of Fang Han, they entered the Danfang. At a glance, they saw the Indigo and Fang Qingxue, and suddenly they bowed, but did not call the Indigo master, but just nodded and sat down on the knees. His qualifications are older than Indigo, but they have not been cultivated as Jin Dan. Of course, they are not willing to call a younger generation as a sister. Of course, Indigo, Fang Qingxue, Yi Piaozi, Luo Shui, Shiguangmei, Longyang also ignored him, but floated in the Dan room in the air, playing various seals around the 5 prison king tripod, burnt offerings refining, the demon ****** palm, the majestic demon, the blood, the rolling like a dragon, seeing the black iron real people a lot of eyes. You are coming to Fang Yuan Dan at Fang. Fang Han also sat down and looked at the 5 people who were not good. He threw out the bait of Yuan Ying Dan. These days seduce a lot of disciples outside the door, but the true disciples did not come to the hook. Today, they are 5 powerful people, and they can't help but secretly calculate. The mysterious real people, Wu Li. These 5 people can be described as the superior strength among the true disciples. If they can use it for their own sake, then the martial art can immediately be said to be the wind and rain. There are more than 100 true disciples in Yuan. Jindan is the top class. Only 5 don't say it, but there are not a few in the natural world, and 1 in the world. There are also hidden dragons and tigers, which are deeply hidden. If these people are drawn together, then Huaqian is in the martial art, there will never be too much authority. 7910? 2. 300. Think about yourself, under the order, all the true disciples are obedient, all the inner disciples are praising in unison, all the foreign disciples are like gods, have this power, deep-rooted, and later find opportunities. China, it's possible to get out of the feather gate every day. It is even possible to arrange for Huaqian to communicate with one door and plot the route of the door. Today, my true disciple came to me. Tomorrow, some elders will not come to me. Huaqian, see if you have the resources of Panwu Shenzhen, or I have the tree of the world. Abundant resources. In my heart, I turned a lot of thoughts and finally settled my mind. He knows that it is not easy to downplay these roles. Maybe the other party will count him and accept him. It's not for Yuan Ying Dan, but for the practice of Fang Han's younger brother. Xian Tai, real person, is a powerful character, expressed in one sentence. Oh, for my repair, how do you say? Fang Han smiled. The younger brothers practiced the legendary 5 emperors and great devils. The mysterious iron has a well-being in the chest. The 5 emperors are the most supernatural in the 5 elements, the supreme magical powers. The 5 elements of the spirit are also massive. Not do you know that the younger brother is now practicing a few? Kankan has become a wood magical power. Fang Han lowered his eyelids. Oh. It seems that the rest of the magical powers, at least 300 or 500 years, the younger brothers have been cultivated. Xian Tai, real people exchanged a look with other people. I don't know how the gambling contract between the younger brother and the Tianju brothers. Xian Tai, real people, I don't like to talk about turning around. Let's open the skylight and say something. Fang Han, she smiled. Well? Hearing the words of Fang Han, Xian Tai really has nothing. Then Wu Li is an eyebrow pick. It seems that the attitude of the other side is very unpleasant. It is about to attack. He is also a famous generation, talented. There are also hidden means. There are also fairy tales. Until now, Fang Han has not called them a brother, and this can't stand it. However, Wu Li just smiled coldly. I don't know if Fang Han's younger brother has heard of the 5 elements. 5 elements of the roots? Fang Han heard, immediately shocked the heart. He actually heard this treasure in the world, this kind of thing, born with a lot of pure 5 elements of essence, is the magical master of the magical dreams. Treasures are nothing but legends. It's rare to see it in 10,000 years. The rumor has the roots of the 5 elements and is integrated into the body. The 5-line spells of cultivation can be made immediately. The master of magical power no longer need to go everywhere to collect wood, gas, fire. Do not know how much time to save. We must know that even if it is the Qianmu ** of the smelting of the door, it is necessary to absorb tens of millions of even the aura of hundreds of millions of trees and harden it. The cultivation of the big self is in the spirit of Xian Jinjian, but I do not know how much gold and iron to absorb. And there are 5 elements of the root, these are not used. However, this kind of treasure is extremely rare. It is only rare to be rare compared to a Taoist device. One piece appears, and it is immediately devastating. Do you have 5 spirits? Fang Han's voice improved. These things, I naturally don't. Xian Tai is humane, but I know where there is. If Fang Hansha feels cost-effective, come up with some Yuan Ying Dan, forget the water, and the practice of the 5 emperors. Some of our brothers are willing to take the younger brother to go to that place and find the 5 elements. Oh. Fang Han couldn't help but smile. So, the younger brother agreed. Wu Li exchanged his eyes with a few true disciples again. It seems to be a, not afraid of you not agreeing, taste. You are good abacus. I want to get a lot of medicinal herbs, holy water, and supernatural powers. I am not bullying, I am not sensible. Fang Han eyes swayed, stabbed to Xian Tai, real people, Wu Li, and other masters, voice becomes stricter. You are so bold. I am coming to my head. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.